Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and you're watching another What I'm Reading Right Now video here on the channel. This is the 5th week of the year. We're tackling weeks 4 and 5 together because last week was my off week. To be honest, the day I'm filming this, it is Thursday the 2nd of February and you're not getting a Thursday video, so it's sort of another off week, but it's my birthday, so I'm going to allow it. Yes, it is my birthday, the day of my birth. I'm having a wonderful day. I've got a little mini birthday book haul here for you, but we're going to talk about what I have been reading, what I'm currently reading, and what I'm going to be reading next. I haven't read Oodles since last we talked. I read, I think, 7 things in that time period, and not all of them we're going to touch on for a long period of time here, so it should be a bit of a snappy one. Mostly just because I was away all of last weekend, and then this weekend was catching up from being away last weekend. It's been a whole thing. We're filming, we're doing it. Here we are. First up, I'm going to talk to you about my Edge Chronicles rereading that has been going on. I'm rereading a series that I've loved since my childhood, kicking it off with Curse of the Gloam Closer. I did this, basically, this isn't the first book published, but it is the first book chronologically, and that's how I've decided to tackle these series. Thinking about it, maybe should have done publication order, because I think some of the callbacks in these books would be more impactful if I did them not in chronological order, in publication order, but I made my choices and here we are. I've read Curse of the Gloam Closer and I also read The Winter Nights, which I'll put the cover up because my copy is somewhere. I'm really enjoying reading this series. I've actually already started Clash of the Sky Galleons. This is the 3rd book in that trilogy. I haven't got a bookmark for it. I need to grab one. Let's use the back loop pattern piece from a pair of trousers I made. Yeah, really enjoying rereading these, finding them really nice and fast-paced. They're actually really good for train journeys because it's like that feeling of finishing a whole book on a train is great. I think they are gorier than I remembered them being, which is actually really enjoyable. But when I think about how old I was when I read them, it makes a lot of sense as to why my mind is the way it is. There's a lot of like weird body horror stuff going on in them and just sort of existential dread. I really like them though. I think they're fantastic books. If you have kids who want something to read, I would really recommend them, but maybe not totally unsupervised if they're very young or easily scared, perhaps. And if you're an adult, just read them. They're great. They're so much fun. After that, on the train back from my parents, I finished The Terraformers by Ali Newitz. This is a lovely finished copy that the kind people at Orbit sent to me after I had already read the digital copy, but it's fine. It's nice to have something to waft at you. I really liked this. I think it's really interesting reading I think it's either the author's note or the acknowledgements, but Annalee Newitz talking about wanting to write a book that was a bit more hope-filled, and I've been in every single video being like, I think this is probably going to be dark sci-fi because that's what all of their other stuff has been. No, it's still definitely tackling very difficult things. The theme of this is terraforming and ownership of land and what's public and what's private and capitalism being bad, similar to a lot of their other works. But I think that this feels much more like it's trying to tell a story of triumph over that, and again, hope over that, rather than let me just expose how bad this is, and that did make it very much enjoyable. I think overall it's not my favourite work of theirs, but I do need to reread Autonomous before I make that call, so we're putting that on the list to reread this year. I do think this is fantastic if you're looking for a sci-fi to read, a new release. It's well worth reading. I think it's great. Some like very interesting futuristic elements to it as well. I did a cheeky reread of V.E. Schwab's The Near Witch. This is for an upcoming Overbooked video. I had a good time with this. I don't think it is her strongest book. I think there is a reason it was her first book and didn't get republished for quite some time. I think your writing improves as a person. I'm interested to see how the Samantha Shannon Bone Season re-release works, given how long it's been since she first wrote that. It's good. It's not a bad book. It's not something I would necessarily be like, everyone needs to go out and buy The Near Witch and read it. I think I've just read better kind of small town witchy stories than this, and it's a little bit heavy-handed in some of the writing, shall we say. However, more on that in a video coming up. Not bad, just not my favourite. We've got a few things that have since gone back to the library because I was a good little human being and returned my library books. I finished Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston. This is the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers. We read that as Space Sirens last year at some point, and I finally managed to get around to reading the sequel. I thought this was great. I think it's a really good middle grade book. I would recommend it to anyone if you're looking for books to buy for people who read middle grade in your life, or if you are an adult who reads a lot of middle grade. I think they're really fantastic adventure books, that whole like magic element to society, secret society that is magical kind of thing. I didn't like this as much as the first book. I think the ending felt a little bit rushed, like the pacing of it wasn't quite balanced for me, and it's that complicated thing of when you have the structure of a competition but you also have everything going on outside of the competition, what do you focus on? And I didn't necessarily feel like the focus was particularly balanced. However, Amari is still a great character. There were some great side characters. I will read more books in this series. This just wasn't my favourite, especially compared to book 1. My Garth Nix Old Kingdom read-along continues. I finally finished Abhorsen. That's book 4? No, 3rd book. The 3rd book I've read Sabriel, L'Oreal, and Corson. Yes, I thought this was good. I liked this a lot more than L'Oreal. I just thought it had a lot more going for it. It took me a really long time to finish. I think it was just longer than I thought it was going to be, but I did like it a lot. I think Sabriel is still my favourite because you get the most, like, I guess transparent look at how the magic works. A lot of the rest of it is like people figuring things out and stuff getting added onto it, and I prefer that straightforward, here's the bells, here's what they do, here's how we're going to use them kind of plotline. But I still had a good time, got to see more of the world, looking forward to reading, back at the library, Clariel at some point in the future. I meant to finish this week. I don't know if it's going to happen. We're going to try. And lastly, another book that I have since returned to the library is Bands of Morning by Brandon Sanderson. I'm not going to talk too much about this. I liked it. It wasn't my favourite. Done. I'm in the middle of 3 things at the moment, the first of which I've already mentioned, and it's Clash of the Sky Galleons. Really liking this, just haven't had the time to dedicate to it. Gonna do that today. The other thing is a piece of book mail that I received unsolicited last year, so I didn't prioritise it at the time. But this is Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope. This is adult fantasy. It's... I don't know how to describe it really. A main character who can talk to spirits and is like kind of going on a quest, but I'm so early on. I'm only 120 pages or so through this. However, I am really enjoying it. I thought I wasn't going to. It's been really interesting. They've introduced a lot of characters. There's been good stuff going on. I like the writing style. I'm going to finish this, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it was going to be a DNF. But yeah, enjoying. Still to read this week on top of all of that, I have Animorphs 48. I'm going to try and get to that on Sunday. I don't know if it's going to happen because we are away again this weekend. I know. A social life. Who am I? What am I doing here? But yeah, I'm looking forward to all the things that are going on, so I don't know if I'm going to get to Animorphs 48. And honestly, if we're getting candid here, if you're a person who follows me because of Animorphs, I think the next few are going to be combined videos because there is no way I'm ever going to finish the series at this rate. And I would love to finish it this year, and I think if we just do some summarising, because if we get to August, it will have been 4 years of making the series, and that's too long. And for the payoff, it's not, we're just gonna finish it, okay? That's what's gonna happen. I think other than that, most of the next few weeks are actually fairly familiar reading. I'm doing my Edge Chronicles project, the Garth Nix stuff, V.E. Schwab rereads for Overbooked, all of that stuff. It's all gonna be quite predictable at the moment, but actually I'm really enjoying that. I'm finding it very good for my brain, especially in February. If you want to check out my full February TBR, that is on Patreon for any tier. If you want to go look at all of the things I'm planning on reading, one of which is the one that I'll mention because it doesn't fit into that pattern, is Infinity Gate. This is a review copy, and I don't really remember why I requested this, but I'm interested to see what it's like. I'll throw in some sci-fi. We'll see. I think the only new release I have to talk about is The Terraformers, which again, would highly recommend. If you're looking for something that is still a hopeful sci-fi, but very much acknowledging all the difficult stuff that comes with trying to build a better world, go for it. Love it. Little baby book haul? Do you want a little baby book haul? I didn't ask for many books for my birthday this year. It's just not been something that I kind of put on my lists at all. But I did get 3 books from my darling family. I have A Swift and Savage Tide, which is the second Captain Kit Brightling novel. I really enjoyed. It's probably somewhere in my film something of this pile. I can't get it out right now. Swashbuckling stuff. I'm excited to read it. Put it on the TBR pile. A finished copy of Under the Whispering Door, which has these like gorgeous blue sprayed edges. TJ Klune. I really like this book. You know I love a book about death. I just really wanted to own a copy. I'm glad to now. This is actually going to go on my shelves, I think. It can go up here. Beautiful. And lastly, a book that had been on my wish list for a few years now, I think after Justine read this. This is The Light Brigade. Don't know much about this. I think it's horror, and I haven't read much horror, but, you know, I'll read this. We'll see. Star Troopers Hostile Takeover Out of Time Honour the Charge is what we should file this under, according to Angry Robot. That's not a genre. Right. Well, I'm feeling a little bit discombobulated, if I'm perfectly honest, after my week off. I kind of can't remember where I'm at with everything, but I think I'm feeling on top of stuff, and that's good. And that's partly because I've not been making Thursday videos. Sorry about it. It's not going to happen for a little while I get my life together. But I believe things are going to be slightly less busy towards the end of this month. I've just got quite a lot of trips to London happening at the moment, and it's all go. What have you been reading? What have you been up to? I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. Are you having a lovely day? I hope you had a great week. In honour of my birthday, please treat yourself to something nice this week, and let me know what you're treating yourself to as a gift from me to you, to you, to yourself. While you're down there commenting what you've been reading, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also follow me on social media. Come hang out on Discord where we have chill chats about books. I'd like to say a huge, grand, enormous thank you to all of the ghosts who haunt me over on Patreon. They support the channel and in return get early access to videos, bonus content, and when I have the time and I'm not in London all the time, live streams. If you'd like to join their number and check all of that out, the link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one.